In this video, I'll be giving you the full breakdown on how to create the ultimate MN82 or MN82s RC crawler or overlander. I'll provide you with all the information on the things to avoid and what works best. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it. So if you're new to the channel, I've been working on these two trucks for the past year, trying to create the ultimate RC crawler / overlander. And I did a 3-part series on how to convert the MN82 to 4-link, as well as a 2-part series on the best setup for the overlanding. But this video is going to serve and try to put everything all into one video so you can get all the information you need. I'm going to provide the parts list, all the information on the things I use and all that stuff. So this will compile all that information into one video so you can reference this to create your ultimate build. So we're going to kick things off with the MN82s here. This is a much simpler build, so if you're a beginner, you will be able to duplicate this setup much easier. And if you're a pro, you might learn a thing or two. So let me turn this off real quick so I can turn that wheel without damaging my servo. But from the ground up here, I'm running some Injora 1.0 wheels wrapped around some DJ Crawler DJ1212 tires. Now these are 68 by 25 millimeter, and because this is a 1.0 wheel, I wanted to have the tallest tire possible because I'm still running the stock straight axles, so I wanted to have as much clearance as possible on the ground without rubbing the fenders here. Now this MN82s is a very nice body. I decided I didn't want to paint it. I didn't want to do much to it. I just wanted to enjoy it for what it is. So I didn't want to cut the fenders and anything like that. And I found that the 68 millimeter tire gives me sufficient clearance without having any interference under these fenders here. So that's the wheel and tire package there. It's a 7 millimeter hex, so you're going to need a hex adapter to get it to work on the stock axles. They are 5 millimeter stock. You're going to need that 7 millimeter hex. So that's the wheel and tire package there. Now the suspension, I'm running the stock leaf spring suspension on the back with the stock 4-link at the front. My recommendation for the right springs or the right shocks would be the Injora 59 millimeters or the RC all-wheel drive 65 millimeters. Now I have the 65 millimeter shocks here just for a little bit more clearance, but honestly I think the Injora 59 millimeters are a better quality shock, but you know, you get a little bit more travel with the 65 millimeters. Now, I decided to keep the truck with the leaf sprung suspension because this truck is an overland build. So I do a lot of towing with this truck. I like to bring this out on the trail and do some towing with it. I got that little tow hitch on the back there. We'll get to that in a second there. But the leaf sprung suspension really helps to keep that body level while you're towing. You know, plus the taller shocks give you a little bit more travel there. Now, if we power this truck back on, you'll see the light setup that I have here. These bottom lights, the fog lights here, these are from the TRX4M. These lights here are from Injora. They're for a 1/18 scale generic light bar setup that happened to fit perfectly into the grill here. I did have to make some modifications, so you have to cut out this little portion here that goes across right there. You got to cut that out and sit this in the middle here. Does a pretty good job. I love the way it looks there, nice and bright. The functionality is still present with the transmitter, so loving that setup. The lights match for the most part. The headlights and the fog lights match. This one's a little bit cooler, but not bad overall. The battery pack that I'm using to provide juice to the system is the URGENEX 3000 milliamp hour pack here. Lots of runtime, good capacity, you know, good quality as well. Fits right into the stock location. As you can see there, I didn't have to make any cuts whatsoever. No cuts whatsoever. This tucks right down into this corner here. So let me try to do that real quick. But that goes right down into that corner and the hood shuts down. Obviously, you got to tuck the wires up a little bit, but no modifications whatsoever. It fits right into the stock location with no issue whatsoever. 3000 milliamp hours or this 2000 milliamp hour pack here. It's a little bit cheaper, but the same quality, a little bit less runtime, but it gets the job done real nicely. So that's what's providing juice to the system here. Now, as for the servo, I did go ahead and upgrade the servo to the, what's this called again? It's the DS power or CS power. Let's see real quick here. I got to turn these lights off. Hang on a second here. CS power, 21G servo, gives me a little bit more steering angle and a lot more power than the stock servo. So that's pretty good there. The metal drive shaft was upgraded because the stock one here, the issue that you have with the stock one, the longer shocks you put on there, the more it wants to separate from the transmission to the axle. So I added this upgraded one here. This provides a lot more durability, and it's just a lot more consistent as well. You don't have to worry about it once you do that upgrade. Gets the job done real nicely. Now, one thing worth mentioning is a lot of people go ahead and do the metal axle upgrade on these trucks. Now, while it does improve the durability and the center of gravity of the truck, it's a much heavier axle than the stock one. It does come at the cost of the tolerances. They're pretty bad. So like the bearings and stuff, they kind of pop out every now and then. This part here, the steering rod here, you're going to have this hitting a lot more than the stock one. As you can see, the bottom of mine, it's like really rubbed off because this thing rubs on absolutely everything. So the tolerances are not great, and the clearance is not great as well. So you can upgrade, but in my honest opinion, I think the stock ones do the job pretty well. It's much easier to work with because the plastic stuff, if you want to make slight modifications and things like that, you can do it much easier on the stock axles. But you can go ahead and do the upgrade if you want to with the metal axle, but just know it's not going to be perfect. So this might be the most controversial statement here. Now, in the past, I was running the AM32 brushless outrunner setup here. It's a very common upgrade for the MN82 chassis, and I decided to take this system out and go back to a brushed setup for this truck. Now, the issue with the brushless outrunner setup here is on the straight axles, you have a lot of cogging. I'll leave some little footage here so you can see what I mean. But there was a lot of cogging on the straight axle setup, so you got a little bit more power, but you didn't get that control and that dependability when you're trying to crawl over like more technical scenarios. So I decided this one was not a good fit for the overland setup. I went back to a brush system. I'm running this on a 370 motor with the Hobbywing 1060. I've went on record in the past and told you guys that I think the Hobbywing 1060 with the stop motor is more than enough, but with the 370 you get a little bit more power and torque, a little bit more wheel speed as well, and it's just a little bit better in my opinion than the brushless setup for this truck. So that's what I'm running right now, 370 motor with the Hobbywing 1060. Honestly, I don't think you need to upgrade the motor. I think the 280 motor that comes in this truck stock is a little bit smoother than the 370. The 370 has more torque, but the 280 is a little bit smoother on the Hobbywing 1060 system. And finally, to complete this truck setup, I'm controlling everything with this MN model transmitter here. It is a 6-channel transmitter called the MN82MN82s. Still retains some functionality, as you can see there with the lights. These are just directly plugged into the receiver. I run them on all the time anyway, so I didn't want to control them. I think they're fine as is, but that's the setup for this truck. Loving it to bits. Lots of control, good power from that servo, good enough control from the Hobbywing 1060. Quite loud with the transmission on these MN model vehicles, but by the way, you can tone that noise down with this Traxxas marine grease. Works good for me if you're going to drive through water and stuff. I'd highly recommend you use this Traxxas marine grease to avoid rust. But this truck is my overlanding build. I can do some towing here. This is a Injora tow hook here, 18 scale tow hook. I can hook this up to my trailer here and do some towing, no problem. So that's the setup for the MN82s. Very simple build, mostly stock, just a few key upgrades to make the truck a little bit better. Doesn't break the bank. Let's get over to the main contender here. This one is much more involved, a lot more custom work done here. So let's jump into it. So with this MN82, the goal was to create the ultimate rock crawler setup for the MN82 platform. And this is what I came up with, as you can see here. A lot of custom work done to make this truck the way it is, you know, but very simple overall. After going through a lot of trial and error, this is what I came up with here. I'm running full portals, 4-link conversion at the back. It's brushless and all that good stuff. So I'm going to walk you through the ultimate setup here, starting with the wheels and tires. I'm running some generic wheels here. These are the MN82 wheels. I forget what the exact name of it. I have probably like 5 sets of wheels for this truck, but the one I'm running today is some generic beadlock wheels here, wrapped around some DJ Crawler 1345 tires. Excellent tires, I have to say. Silicone inserts inside here, DJ Crawler silicone inserts inside. Lots of traction from these tires. DJ Crawler 1345, like I said, measurement is 74 by 28 millimeters. So this is about as big as it gets for a 1.3 size tire. So that's a wheel and tire package I'm running there. As for the portal axles, this is the MNRC portal axle setup. It's a little bit different from the one you typically see. The typical ones are a lot more shiny. This one's more like a gunmetal finish, as you can see there. Gunmetal finish on that. So a lot nicer to look at. I love that little logo there. Let me turn the lights off real quick so you can actually see what I'm showing you. Hold on real quick. There we go. So these are MNRC portal axles there. Very nice quality, looks great, gets the job done nice. I've gotten up to about 50 degrees of steering angle on this truck. Let me turn it off real quick. So that's the portal axle setup that I'm running on this truck. One important thing to mention here is, again, this Traxxas marine grease, I would highly recommend you get some form of grease for your axles, for your gears. It doesn't only quiet them down, but it makes sure that if you drive through water, if you have any issues like that, they will continue to run smoothly, and they limit the amount of wear on the gears as well. So I went ahead and greased all the bearings, the portal gears in here, the bearings inside there, in the diff, inside the transmission, etc. So highly recommend you get some form of grease to make sure those gears are lubricated and protected from rust. Does a great job. It also, one thing is, as well, it does also help the gears to mesh a little bit more smoothly as well. So this might be all you need to get your truck to run a lot smoother. All right, so that's the portal setup. Now I'm running some RC all-wheel drive 53 millimeter shocks. The thing about this, if you remember on the MN82, I was running 65 millimeter shocks. If you're going to run a portal setup on this truck, you don't want such long shocks because it's going to sit that body like way up here and have it look like crazy. That doesn't look right to me, as you can see there. So those 53 millimeter shocks gets the truck to sit down a lot more normally, let's say that, all the while providing a lot of flex for the truck. It's sitting on portals, so you don't have to worry about the truck having clearance. It's going to be much better than the stock setup, and this just makes the truck look a little bit more true to life, and you still have a lot of flex, as you can see there. So that's my setup. RC all-wheel drive 53 millimeter shocks, gets the job done nicely, nice and smooth here. I run this with Traxxas 20 weight oil. Stiffer springs in the front, softer in the back. A little bit of preload on the front, as you can see there. No preload around the back, as you can see there. So that gets the job done pretty nicely. The rear of this truck is very light compared to the front, so having a little bit stiffer spring on the front with a little preload gets me that control that I want. Gets the job done real nicely, as you can see there. Lots of flex, lots of control from the truck, getting the job done nicely. Let's quickly talk about the 4-link setup here. Now, I have probably 2 or 3 dedicated videos on how to get your truck to have the 4-link setup. So I'll just breeze through this real quick. I went ahead and did the full metal upgrade to the front here. So I'm running metal links here, the 4-link system. You get them usually with the metal axles. So I got the 4-link set up on the front here, which gave me the option to use the stock front links on the rear here. So I'm just running the stock servo bracket here that was on the front, put that on the back with the stock links on the back as well. Let me turn that over real quick, and I simply just put 2 holes through the chassis right here to get that 4-link to work. Very, very simple. It bolts right up to this portal housing on the top. Bolts right up to the top of this portal housing here. No issues, no modifications whatsoever. Gets the job done real nicely. It's worked fine for me. I've put this truck through a lot of different adventures, a lot of different technical scenarios. It's never broke. You know, I don't baby this truck. This truck puts in work. So it's worked fine. It's a very simple conversion. A lot of other channels do it a different way. This is the way I do it. It's worked easily for me with no issues at all. Very durable, no issues whatsoever there. So that's my 4-link conversion there. You can check out the link in the description if you want some further details on how to achieve this, but that's the way I did it. So that's a 4-link conversion here. As for the lights, let me turn this back on real quick. As for the lights, I'm running some 10 scale amber fog lights here, as well as the headlights. These are Injora 18 scale, what are these called again? Spotlights. And Injora 18 scale, what are these called again? Rock lights. Sorry guys, I'm kind of slipping on the names here, but still maintain control over the functionality on the rock lights. On channel 3 here, I can cycle through some modes. There you go. That's a different mode right there. And then you can turn it off. So I like the functionality of the rock lights. I think it makes the truck look super cool. And I love that if I don't want them on, I can easily turn them off. Now, as for the servo, this is a 7.5 kilogram servo. I love that it's really quiet, but it gives me a lot of throw on that steering as well. 7.5 kilogram servo by Hobby Park. Now, this is actually for a smaller truck. It's for an 18 scale truck, so it doesn't actually bolt right up. I had to kind of do it a little ghetto style there with the zip ties over the top and some double-sided tape. I could 3D print a bracket for this system here, but this is what I'm running for now until I get that done. It works pretty nice and responsive, good power as well. Gets the job done. I love that it's really quiet. Like I said, it's from Hobby Park. Lots of throw, very responsive, good power. So loving that servo there. Gets the job done real nicely. As for the drive shaft, I am running the metal drive shaft on this truck. A lot more durable, a lot more dependable than the stock one. No separation if you get a lot of flex. So that's the metal drive shaft. I also have full metal gears in the transmission. Make sure it's fortified, no issues at all with the drivetrain. Everything's nice and strong, so I can really work this truck hard. So metal drive shaft, metal transmission gears, metal geared axles, all that stuff. So all the drivetrain is nice and durable, nice and strong. Gets the job done pretty nice. Like I said, this is running the AM32 brushless system. It's not a good fit for the MN82s straight axle setup. You get way too much cogging. It's just not great. But in the portal setup, it's geared down nice and low because the portals gear the truck down. So it's going to be a lot slower than the straight axle setup, which I would say use a 3S battery pack here. So this is a 900 milliamp hour 3S pack. So on the MN82S, that's running 2S. On this MN82, I'm running 3S. So that's the 3S pack that I'm running. You will need to make a few little modifications if you want to run the exact pack as this one, because it's a little bit thicker, so it won't close the hood properly, but with a few slight modifications to that battery bay, you can get this to work no problem. So that's the pack I'm running there. 3S on the portal setup, 2S on the straight axle setup. Gets the job done real nicely. So again, everything is being powered or controlled by the MN89K, as you can see here. So I run the same transmitter for both trucks. I like the MN89K because it's nice and cheap, gets the job done perfectly fine, you know, no problems at all, and everything's being kept in the family. So I like that MN model transmitter here. MN89K gets the job done nicely. So like I said, I wanted to make sure you guys had one video that you could reference all the parts that I used to get this truck set up. If you want further details, I'll link in the description the full breakdown on how to set up the truck and how to get certain things to work. But as you can see, the brushless setup on this truck with the portals, super smooth, nice and easy to control. Let's get it over here a little bit better here. But nice and smooth, gets the job done pretty good. Suspension cycles pretty nicely. No issues at all. I'm struggling to get it over my hand here, but you get the point. It gets the job done nice is what I'm trying to say, guys. So love this setup. I think this truck is as good as it's ever been. Like I said, this video was to make sure you had all the information on both setups where you can reference the information whenever you like. I'll try to provide a parts list in the description. I'm not sure about the links because honestly, I can't remember exactly where I got a lot of this stuff. This build has been over the course of a year, so please understand, but I will try to put a parts list in the description. So that's the setup for both trucks, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, if you found it informative, if you learned something, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more cool content. So that's the setup for the MN82 and the MN82S. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.